What's going on, guys? I just want to take one quick minute and talk about a video that's kind of been chatting my ass the last couple days. I usually don't do this. I usually don't really care and all that there about YouTube videos. Anyways, there was a video posted a few days ago about I think it was a Comet or something like that, big blower motor on it that ended up having a brake issue as well as a throttle issue, which careened into another car in traffic. No one was hurt, seriously anyway, so that was all fine and good. But I just think we gotta look at the kind of big picture and stuff like that. I've been watching all these videos and reading all these comments, and actually I'll put the video up, maybe a little thing right here if I can, so you can kind of see what it was. Uncle Tony did a fantastic video giving his kind of play-by-play of it, and I pretty much agree 100% with what he had said. And I mean, there is a lot of stuff with you got to be aware of what we do here. I mean, when we're out and about, we're not beating on the cars too much and stuff like that. We do little burnouts here and there, but for the most part, people always want to see us really beat on the cars, and I'm really leery to do that because if something does go wrong, I'm responsible for it. So you got to be, you know, garage burnouts and stuff like that. That's what I prefer to do. That way, if I break something, it's my own stuff. Anyway, so go watch Uncle Tony's video. It was fantastic. He nailed it. Explain kind of what happened. So I don't want to go too far in the nitty gritty, but basically this car was driving down the road, and it's got to be a couple $100,000 car with a 1,300 horsepower, blown big block Chevy with some sort of automatic transmission. Anyways, the throttle was stuck at around, I think there's some live, the guy was saying 22 or 2,400 RPM. So I could just imagine a big block Chevy making all that power, you know, going down the road, and the throttle wouldn't come off that. That's bad. So whatever, you don't stop, fix that, so be it, I guess. They had made a comment that they've had that lots before. You whap the throttle, it comes back. Okay, if that's what you want to say, that's what you want to say, I get it. We've all been there, and I can kind of get that. So anyways, later on in the video, the guy, there's a passenger, he says, "Oh, I smell brakes." And then the driver says, "Oh yeah, I'm riding the brakes here to keep this thing at the speed limit." And I just think, and again, they kept going. And you know what? Those are my problems with the thing. Now, once things went bad, they lost the brakes, whether it was, they kept saying brake failure. I got to assume, like Tony in his video, and I think he's 100% right, they got the brake so hot that the brake fluid boiled, there was no brakes there, you had to pump the hell out of it, or whatever it may be. I wouldn't call that brake failure, I'd call that brake stupidity. You rode the brakes all day long, and they're no good. So anyways, and then they careened into a car, an SUV. Fortunately, there was just a single driver in there, but I mean, it could have had, you know, kids, dogs, whatever in the back, but they lucked out, and ultimately no one was seriously injured. Definitely a guy hurt his arm, and a guy had took a steel dash to the chin and broke some teeth, so definitely not great, but could have been a lot worse. And it seems like a lot of people are focused on the section of the video where things went bad to where they hit the car, and that's where the problem lies. Where I believe the problem lied when you got in that car and the throttle was stuck and the brakes weren't working and all that. And that's, you know, nothing bad had happened there yet, but they were well on their way. And I don't know if I have a responsibility or I feel this way, but just stuff like that. If you're driving your car and things aren't going well and it's becoming more and more unsafe, just stop. Pay the tow. Do whatever you got to do. Get the thing home. It's not worth it. Trust me. And many times I've pulled over and towed the car home or left it and come back later, got some tools or whatever the thing may be. I know you're almost there and all that stuff. There's some stat out there I remember you hear, and some huge percent of accidents happen right around your house because you're just almost home and stuff like that. You're there all the time. So just be aware of those things. So we're in Canada and we have a pile more rules, automotive-wise, for inspections and all that sort of stuff to get a car on the road. And a lot less leniency and stuff like that. And I think that's a thing that in the States, you guys have so much freedom. We're trying to get some. We're looking at places down there, see if we can get in there, maybe have a couple cars, have a little vacation home, whatever it may be, if we can afford some small thing. Because hot rodding is so widely accepted there, and it's so allowed and all that. Everyone loves it. I'll give you a little story here. Probably, I don't want to date myself too bad, but probably 15 years ago, the car scene, I'm in Winnipeg, Manitoba, was pretty good. And there was a couple guys that were street racing illegally. Not that I'm condoning it, but that's what happened. And there was a lady jaywalking across the street illegally. She got hit and died. Well, I tell you what, the fear of God came into people, and they all but killed hot rods. I got out of it for a couple of years. If there was a hot rod on the road, they were pulling you in for inspection, they were making sure that car was up to snuff, every little thing. It didn't matter what it was. They would hammer it. All sorts of new legislation came in. Tickets became ludicrous. So like a speeding ticket here, for instance, if you're going like 10 or 15 kilometers over, I believe they start at $250 or $300 for a ticket on top of points in your license, which I don't know how many points it is, 2, 3, 4. It'll probably cost you another $500 the following year to renew your license, which I know we're strict on, because I know when I was in the States, some of it seemed a little lenient in some of that stuff. And then there's double fines around construction and school zones and all sorts of stuff. We have all these new laws coming in, and the reason is because the people that cause the problem, who drive an unsafe car or race or do those things, they're not punished. We all pay the stupid tax. So now, if one guy screws up, one guy drives a car with the throttle stuck and the brakes fail and he careens into somebody, that guy should be hung out to dry. But instead what's going to happen is slowly but surely the laws will get stricter and stricter and stricter and all these things, because of just, as you guys know, like one apple spoils the bunch. All those sayings are so true when it comes to hot rods. And I just want to say my piece. I think I love these old cars, and I'll drive them until the day I die or the day they tell me I can't anymore, and even then I'll probably still drive them. But just be aware, be safe. There's a lot of stuff we do on the channel which is kind of hackery and rough and all that, and I get that. And you can say my stuff is rough, but I can't believe anyone would say what I drive is unsafe to be on the road. I'm a big believer in brakes and front suspension, and all that's taken care of, dual master cylinders, all these upgrades we do. And you know, we're not overpowering the car with no brakes whatsoever. You typically kind of match it all together, and then you just got to be careful about it and really think about it. So again, this doesn't just apply to cars, this applies to everything in the world. You think to yourself, all these laws that come out, it's because of one idiot or two idiots or something like that. So be aware of that. If you're that idiot, you ruin it for the rest of us. And as a guy who has to deal with all these rules, so much so that it's probably worth moving to get to enjoy hot rods a little bit better, not to mention all the rust we have to deal with up north versus down south, just be aware of that. Don't try and pass blame on what you should have done, or you should have inspected the car, or all those things. Who inspects their car? You build it? Does the brakes work, yes or no? Now when you get in there, if we were to get in this car right now, and I fire it up and all of a sudden, boom, it's idling high, and you decide to put that in reverse and drive away, you're the idiot. If you put your foot on the brake to put it in gear and it goes right to the floor and you got to pump it twice to get brake pressure up before you put it in gear, you're the idiot. But if you do that, the rest of us will have to pay.